With Chainsaw Man being one of the most hyped up anime series to come up this year, a lot of people were demanding for an anime adaptation, and what do you know, we finally got one. When it was first announced that Chainsaw Man was getting an anime adaptation, a lot of people were excited, myself included. And by the time that I am recording this video, the season finale has dropped today. So in this video, I'm going to be going over all the things that I have liked about the series and all the things that I've disliked, and I'm going to give my overall rating of the anime.
Better get to work.
A quick recap of the series, we get introduced to our main protagonist, Denji, who is 16 years old, and he inherits his father's debts from the Yakuza, and by trying to sell his organs and becoming a devil hunter, he has yet to pay them off.
Tree cutting nets me about 60,000 yen a month. And that kidney I just sold was, 1.2 mil. My right eye was 300,000. Sold one of my nuts, too. How much did they go for again? Not even 100K, I think. So as of today, I owe over 38 million yen.
After Denji gets betrayed by the Yakuza, his heart is replaced with the Chainsaw Devil, Pochita, who with his pet ever since he lost his father, thus turning him into the half-human, half-devil Chainsaw Man. Now, I won't be going over the entirety of Season 1 because I think that's going to take up way too much time, because everything in this season is very important to the story, which is also a plus for this anime and something that I really like, which also is a great way to start off with the things that I like about this anime. A lot of people will say that it shouldn't matter how a show or movie looks, just a good story is enough, to which I disagree with. Now, I will agree that a good and well-written story is very important to a show and a movie. I'm not gonna say books because you can picture the story in your mind, but it's different when you're looking at a show or a movie. And genuinely, I cannot enjoy an anime or a movie or a show that doesn't look good, that it looks awful. Now, I want to mainly talk about the fight scenes in Chainsaw Man. I do think that the animation style and the designs are decent. I do have my own personal problem with them, but I'll explain that later on. But I mainly want to talk about the fight scenes in Chainsaw Man. Personally, I think that the fight scenes are breathtaking and just incredible to watch. Say what you want, but I personally do love the CGI that is used in this anime. Of course, for fights like this, CGI has to be involved, and I'm okay with that as long as it's executed well. I did think that the CGI for the first fight in the first episode wasn't the best, but it kept on improving later on and on in so many other fights, and it makes me wonder how long this has taken to animate, how much time and work has been put into this. And if I had to rank the fights from best to worst, it would go like this: Denji versus the Eternity Devil, Denji versus the Bat Devil, Denji versus Katana Man Round 1. As I'm editing this, I realized I forgot to put Denji versus the Leech Devil, so I'm just gonna let you guys know that I'm putting that fight above Denji versus Katana Man Round 2. Denji versus Katana Man Round 2, and last, Denji versus the Debt Collector. Another thing that I like about this anime is the voice acting and dialogue. The voice acting in this anime is incredible, and it shows the passion behind this anime adaptation. Even the dubbed version tried their hardest to keep up with the original sub version. My favorite part is when Denji is laughing psychotically while he's fighting the enemies. It really shows that the voice actors are passionate and do their best to talk like how people would talk in the real world and give their overall effort in the dialogue. For the dialogue part, I mainly want to bring up Denji because he talks like his age. Denji is 16 years old and he does talk like how real life 16-year-olds would talk, unlike some other anime shows. It may be a small thing, but that is the reason why I brought up dialogue. It shows that the author of the manga has a basic understanding of how people talk in the real world, and are able to include that in the series. Which brings me to my next point, the cast of characters. One thing that I think we can all agree on is that we need a good written protagonist for us to follow in the story. That includes books, movies, TV shows, anime, manga, and regular comic books. A lot of people really love Denji as a main protagonist, myself included. To me, what makes a great protagonist is somebody that I can relate to, somebody that I feel like I can have a connection with, and Denji is one of those protagonists. He struggles with work, wants to find true love, surround himself with people that he can trust, and overall just live a normal and happy life. It makes me root for the protagonist to achieve his or her goals. A protagonist like Denji is what helps me invest into the story and world of Chainsaw Man. Another character that I want to bring up is Power. Out of everybody in the series, Power is the more type to become Denji's love interest. As a love interest to a main protagonist, I immediately care about that character because of the effects it brings to our main protagonist and the story. It helps us show the internal and external changes in the protagonist and demonstrates a character arc. Aside from Pochita, I believe that Denji has shown more care and more interest in Power out of every other girl in the series that he has met. But that also leads to the things that I dislike about Chainsaw Man series as a whole. Now, let me be clear on something. Whatever I say here is only my opinion. If any of you disagree with me, that is honestly amazing. Please let me know what your opinions are in the comments below to the things that I have to say that I think the flaws are in this show. I still love Chainsaw Man, and these flaws that I have didn't stop me from enjoying the season at all. Now, let's get into it.
Sounds awesome!
Denji and Power are the only characters I actually care about. I honestly couldn't care less about the other characters in the story. When looking at a story, I don't want to just care about the main protagonist. I want to care about the characters he involves himself with. To me, none of the characters in this season had much development or focus time enough for me to care about them. Now, it's important that I mention that I'm not comparing the manga to the anime. I'm just saying this as if I haven't read the manga or have known anything about this series. So looking at this season alone, it doesn't make me care enough for the characters like Aki, Kobeni, or even Makima. Now, remember when I mentioned how I care about Power? The character for Power that I described develops later into the manga. Since this series only developed from the first volume to the fifth, it didn't show that character development in Power. So, realistically, I only care about Denji. Denji is the only character that gets some sort of development in this season, while most other characters are just the same the entire time, while only have one or two fears that can really define their sort of, I guess you could say, characters. I want to talk about two characters in particular, Himeno and Kobeni. Let's talk about Himeno for a minute. Of course, she has a massive role in Aki's life, but they didn't give her much focus, and when they did, to me at least, it wasn't executed that well. So when she died later on, I didn't really feel sad or anything. From what we saw from her in the series, the show made it seem like we're supposed to care for this character, which unfortunately I didn't. Not to say I hate Himeno or anything, but I just didn't care for her at all. So her death didn't have as much impact as I wanted it to have. The next character I want to talk about is Kobeni. To me, I think she is the most realistic character in the series, despite the crazier side that she has. But again, all this season did for me was make me feel for her, but not care for her. I imagine if Kobeni had died along with Sawatari when she decided to take her own life with the Snake Devil, I wouldn't have cared about her death because the series hasn't developed or focused on her character. It's the same case with Himeno. In order to care about characters in a story, they need to be focused on and have development. That's what I look for in an anime or a movie or any sort of book. A cast of characters that I can really care about, and when some of them die, I feel upset. That may be a weird feeling I want to have, but I prefer that over not caring about characters that I'm supposed to care for. The next thing I want to quickly get out of the way is character designs. This is more of a personal thing for me. It's not the biggest thing to all people, but it's something I care about and something I would like to mention and discuss. Obviously, this doesn't have as much effect as a point that I described earlier or the next one after this. This is only my personal hot take. How am I supposed to distinguish these characters from each other? Almost the entire cast are just people in dark suits with dark hair, excluding Power, of course. But if I look at these characters, I wouldn't be able to tell which one is the main protagonist. Now, I do have to keep in mind that this takes place in a realistic setting, and it makes more sense. But the clothes of these characters isn't the main problem. It's also that there is no distinct feature for any of these characters that can make me see it apart from other anime. Let's take One Piece for example. I can easily tell when a One Piece character is a One Piece character just by the overall designs and features that it has. But I can't do that with Chainsaw Man. And it's not only this series, there's plenty of other series with the same issue, especially Bunny Girl Senpai. This was just something that's more personal to me, and it shouldn't really matter to all viewers who watch, but there are people who care about this kind of thing, and I'm one of those people. This is just kind of small things that sort of bother me. Now, as I stated many times before, the main thing that I and many other people look for in an anime, movie, or book, we need a good story. For me, Season 1 just hadn't fully pulled me into the story yet. The only plot about this season is mainly focused on the Gun Devil. Let's break the episodes apart from this season. The first 4 episodes are focused on what is happening to Denji and his goals. The rest of the season is focused on the Gun Devil. And while yes, the Gun Devil has been touched upon, to me it wasn't fully touched upon enough for me to be interested. When I look at the world, to me it's cliche. I have seen many other anime that includes devils, transformations, main and secondary antagonists, and all sorts of fights. And it's not a bad thing. On the contrary, Chainsaw Man probably has one of the most unique concepts when approaching this kind of cliche. Making your own concept with a basic concept and executing it well on screens is what makes a basic story and cliche work. Unfortunately, I just didn't get that with the first season. For me, I'm mainly excited for this second season because I want to see the fights. I'm not all that interested in the story. Unique concept for a basic concept, that's something I have to praise Chainsaw Man for. But again, it didn't fully pull me into the story. Now, I don't want to leave this video with a bad note. Chainsaw Man Season 1 feels like a setup for something bigger, and that's why I think it didn't fully pull me into the story. Overall, I still really love Chainsaw Man, and it definitely deserves the praise that it gets. There are way more things to praise in the show than the flaws, and I'm excited to see where Chainsaw Man goes from here with the anime and the manga. Overall, I think I'm going to give Chainsaw Man an 8 out of 10. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments and let me know what you guys rate the first season, and I'll see you all on the next one.